welcome. Thanks for letting me check my sound with you before we got started tonight. I'm having an issue with my speakers, and when I do the webinars, I have to turn my sound off completely. So I have no idea what's going out. It's kind of a scary situation when you do these, because the only feedback I get is whether or not you write in the chat bar if you can hear me. So I really appreciate you letting me know that you could hear me when I was doing my audio testing. All right, welcome to tonight's tonight's healing. Let me start over again. Welcome to tonight's healing, and it's on intuition, which I'm really excited about doing the healing on. Now, your intuition is information that you hold in your, right here in your sixth chakra. That's where that information resides. But I like to think of your intuition as your ability to interpret a lot of your senses. All of your senses play into your intuition as well. For instance, you can feel energy, and that plays into your intuition. That's in the second chakra. You can hear energy, which is in your throat chakra, and you can see energy from your sixth chakra. So tonight we're going to be focusing more on the sixth chakra here in the center of your head, looking at your information on intuition. And then I'm also going to clean out your clairvoyance. They're related, but they're a little different. Your intuition is like your information, and your clairvoyance is your actual ability to read and see energy. So that's what's on le menu for tonight. And I'm going to set the energy with prayer, and then we'll get started. As we cleanse and heal the temple of the soul, may it be with the blessing of divinity that it shine its countenance upon us and bring us peace in body, mind, and spirit. Amen. Okay. For those of you that are new, how I do this healing is I look at a composite of everybody in the sanctuary, which allows me to look at everybody's matching energy. And through looking at matching energy, I can find places where everybody has similar pain pictures, similar foreign energy, and it allows me to clear a group at once. So I'm going to be clearing and talking to you as if I'm talking to you directly, because whatever I clear, there's a very good chance that it's coming out of you as well as the next person. So I'm going to start right now by taking a look at your intuition. The first thing I see is there's almost like a pushback energy of like, no, 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 don't look, don't look. A lot of aggressive energy to not even look at that information. And that's very dark energy. And that's coming out. That's the first energy we're going to move out. So the reason it's so dark is because some of that don't look energy comes from way back on the timeline. Very, very old energy throughout the ages that you've brought with you from body to body. Well, and to be honest, right up front are all of the death pictures that are the result of lifetimes where you were intuitive and you were accused of being the devil or a witch or somebody that society didn't want. And so what's coming out now are a lot of the energies of past lives where you've actually lost your body being an intuit. And what's behind that is a lot of religious energy. And I'm just going to take a moment here to point out different religious energies so that you can clear them. Not to just point them out, but so that you can clear them. Well, what comes up first are lifetimes where you were in the upper echelon of religion, or and a participant on an authority level. A lot of that energy is coming out first. And some religions will assign devil worship to intuition. And so I'm going to show you where that energy resides too, so that we can clear it. And as that religious energy comes out, there's a whole lot of control energy. It's a white, fluffy, thick energy coming out along with that. But you're doing a wonderful job of releasing these control energies. They're coming out quite well. There are poverty lifetimes coming out now, and I'm not really sure how that applies to your intuition, but that's what's coming out. Okay, the poverty lifetimes have to do with being stuck in your lower chakras in survival, where you can't access your intuition. If all your energy is stuck down in your first and second chakras, you can't really access that information because it's right up here, and you have to bring your awareness up to this point to access it. So that's what that was all about, was lifetimes where you just couldn't pull it together because you were in survival and couldn't get your energy up to that sixth chakra. Oh yeah, and the next energy is crazy energy. I always love that one. I got called crazy so many times growing up. That's a great control energy, is to label somebody crazy. If you don't understand what is going on, just call them crazy and it'll try to control them. So a lot of intuits and psychics are called crazy. There's a lot of unconscious energy coming out now. It's a gray, kind of a whitish gray, and it's almost like a dead zone. It's the energy, like unconscious energy sits on top of pain. And so when I see it come out, it's like a dead zone before we hit pain. And let me see what's underneath it. What's underneath it is the pain of being accused of something when you are an intuit or a psychic, and being accused of something. That's what I see is the real pain underneath this, is being erroneously accused. And the pain of not being able to speak your truth and express your truth. I'm also noticing there's a lot of energy in your head that's going to affect your intuition. So I'm just going to take a moment to clean out the center of your head as well. Good. That's working really well. So as I work on the center of your head when it comes to intuition, there's also a lot of beings coming out. And it kind of reminds me of like a Halloween commercial when bats come flying out of everywhere. That's what it looks like. So there are a lot of beings that have been stuck in your noggin that are starting to come out now. All right. The next energy I'm seeing is family energy. Some of it's protective, some of it's competitive. A little of it is instructional. So a small amount of it is actually of value, but the rest of it is like foreign energy to you. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen parents of a psychic child. I see a lot of parents of psychic children, and it never ceases to amaze me how frightened parents get sometimes of psychic children. And the reason I bring this up is because there's a lot of parental control energy in your intuition. And when I look at it, I think it's because a parent, in order to discipline a child, needs to be able to figure out how to control them on some level. And when you're dealing with psychic children and you are not a psychic yourself, how do you rein that in? I don't know. I'm not a parent, but I see that energy of a parent feeling like they need to control a child who's exhibiting a lot of psychic abilities just in order to be able to stay on top of them. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what I see. So I'm going to help you clear that. I had a couple bring a beautiful young girl in one time to me for a session because they didn't know what was going on, and she was just a very aware psychic child. And when I told them that, they cried. It didn't fit their picture of what they wanted for their child, and it was very upsetting to them. So there's a lot of judgment on being intuitive, being psychic. So that's the next level I'm going to work on. More weirdo pictures coming out. Oh, some of the energy is judgment, that there's something wrong with you, that you're possessed. And I actually had that happen here where I live. Somebody found out that I was a psychic and they just freaked. So even now, not just in older times, people can become very lit up when you let them know that you're an intuit or a psychic. Good. A lot of that family energy is sloughing off. And what is really behind all of that is when you start opening up your intuition and start finding your own awareness, you will start to be able to see for yourself what healing agreements you've made. And a lot of healing agreements are made within families. Well, when you start seeing your healing agreements, it allows you to decide whether or not you want to keep those healing agreements. So a lot of times when people are turning on psychically, they start ending healing agreements with people that they don't find to be of benefit for them anymore. And what that does is it starts sometimes angering the people around you because they're being pulled out of a healing agreement, maybe that they don't want to be pulled out of. But that's not really your problem. It's your right to end any healing agreements that you want to. So my point to all of this is that when you do end a healing agreement, sometimes, not always, but sometimes you'll get a little pushback from that person. They'll get angry because you're pulling your healing energy, your beautiful healing energy out of them and out of a long-standing agreement with them. And the part of the energy that's leaving you now that was that is like a little sac coming out. Okay, so I have two more areas I want to cover. We covered family and we did a really good job. I should say you did a really good job because we got a lot of family energy out of that space. So next we're going to look at friends, the energy of your friends and any control energy they might have around your intuition. Now, here's what I like to see. I like this because I see friends in your space that encourage you to open up your spiritual awareness, which is kind of, I wouldn't say new for me to see, but I'm used to seeing so much energy in a person's space that is contrary to their being an intuitive or psychic. So it's really lovely to see that there are plenty of people now that are supportive and open to that. So I do see friend agreements in there that support your opening up your intuition, as well as friend relationships that are controlling. So it's a mixed bag. What's coming out right now is the competition from the friends. And I have to tell you, it's a little funny because there's competition from the friends not wanting you to like get ahead of them. But then I see like once you do open up your awareness and you start to utilize your psychic abilities, that then they want your information. So they don't want you to have it up front, but then when you get it, they want a piece of it. You're doing a very good job releasing the energy of friends in your intuition space. And I see a lot of it coming out of your back channels, like going from your head down your back channels and out. And while we're in here, I'm just going to look for people in general, just bodies that might be in your space trying to block your intuition. Teachers, professors, other spiritual teachers in competition. Good, that was a good clearing. And then the last thing that I wanted to do is kind of look at a timeline. I know there are a lot of you in the sanctuary, but I thought if I looked at a timeline, I'd be able to clear some points on the timeline for you. So let's take a look at that. Well, I'm going back to a point on the timeline when a level of beings came here that vibrate at destroy. And I'm doing it from that point forward because that point, these beings are called snakes. And when they came here, it started changing the energy of the planet. So I'm grounding your timeline from that point forward. So it's really interesting. As I do this, I see there are periods in time where there was so much animosity towards psychics and intuits that you had to go into hiding. So it's like, if I look at the timeline, there's different ebbs and flows to like when you could use it and when you had to hide it. Very interesting. So that reminds me to take out all the hiding energy. That's nice. You're getting a good release on your timeline. There's punishment is coming out from the lifetimes that you weren't supposed to use that ability, and you did. So there's a lot of this white punishment coming out. That would be linked to some of those lifetimes where you lost bodies. And Supreme Being just told me when I wrap this up to fill everybody in with acceptance of your intuition. I thought that was pretty good. So let me start to wrap up and fill you in with acceptance. That's so pretty. Your 6 chakras come up to a lovely blue. And I'm collecting up your energy off of your timeline. I'm also filling your timeline in with gold because we want to replenish wherever we released foreign energy, we want to replenish it with a higher energy vibration. So I'm doing that right now in the timeline. And then I'm going to fill you in with both permission and acceptance of your intuition. Okay. May it be with the blessing of divinity that this healing on your intuition tonight be complete. Amen. All right. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Let's take a look at our calendar and see what's cooking for February. The next thing on our calendar is the Women's Intuition class on creating abundance. That's next Thursday night. And then after that, we have a Body Beautiful 30-minute meditation on self-image this month. So that's coming up on 2 Tuesdays from tonight. And then we have one more healing this month in the sanctuary on procrastination. And I'm so excited about that because I really love that topic. I'm actually working with a client on procrastination, and a lot of interesting things have come up for it. So I thought it would be a really good one to do a healing on in the sanctuary, because I think all of us may have a tendency to fall into procrastination at some time or another. So that's coming up at the end of the month. And that's what's cooking. Thank you again for joining me tonight. And I look forward to seeing you in the Women's Intuition class so that you can come and we can play around with our abundance vibration and do some mock-ups that night. So I will see you then. And I got my eyes on you right now. Have a wonderful evening and good night.